just because you may not, you may keep the Sabbath rest partially, or you may keep the feast some way, but if you are still being slanderous and doing the stuff you do, he's not going to receive you. That's right. That's right. It's important that we understand that. Now, once again, let me read that, and I'm going to read it from the set-apart scriptures, from the Abrahamic covenant scriptures. Therefore, come out from among them, and be you separate, said Yahuwah, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. And this is being quoted from Yashayah 52:11. We need not eat or walk uncleanly. Our lifestyle should be Torah lifestyle. That is what Yahuwah requires from us for his free gift. Now, once again, if we say we love him, then why is it that we have an issue? It's about to die. That we have an issue with walking in obedience to the will, his will for our lives. We can't eat whatever we want. That's right. And watch this, and you can't drink whatever you want. That's right. You can't do it. Now, watch what he says in verse 8. And will be a Abba to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahuwah Almighty. From 2 Shemuel 7:14, or Shemuel Bet 7:14, Rabbi Shaul, or Apostle Rabbi, or Apostle Shaul, quotes numerous times out of the Tanakh, the Ibram Bible. And when we say Ibram Bible, we know we're talking about the scriptures. But look what Christianity has made him out to be. A man who hates Torah and presupposes that it is done away. Only foolish people can believe and act that way, and large parts of Christian apostasy and rebellion will cause many kingdom places being lost. In other words, Christianity basically uses Rabbi Shaul's words to twist truth. Right. Now, once again, some I believe is deliberately, and then some I believe it is out of honest ignorance, like I was, ignorant to truth. There is something about Rabbi Shaul's teachings. His teachings were, I won't say really so much complicated, but they were addressed to Ibram. They were addressed to the children of Yasrael. And unless you understand that, and unless you are conditioning your mind and your heart to see who he was talking to, then you will believe that it's hard. Why? Because you have to understand you're trying to fit a size 7 or a size 13 into a size 7. Right. You're trying to fit a foot that is extremely too big in a shoe, not that it's too small, but it was fit or designed for the size of the foot that it was made for. Right. The shoe is not too small, it is just the foot that you're trying to put in it does not fit in that shoe. Right. That's not the shoe for that foot. Because that's not the foot. The foot is supposed to be a size 7. Because the shoe is the shoe that was presented for us to wear. And so people tend to look at his words and don't understand because they alleviate or move out of the way us as a people. Right. So it's like he's just talking to a random group of believers that catch on to this. No, he's talking to people that understand his language. Right. They understand what he is talking about because they know he's talking about us. And so it's important that we understand. Right. Very important that we understand this. You cannot understand and follow when you continue to destroy. It is very disheartening when you see people that say, well, no, because Rabbi Shaul said that Yahusha did away with that. And then when you look throughout Scripture, you really see, no, stop for a moment. And one of the hardest things I believe for people is to admit what they have seen is true. Because they are afraid to lose people. I understand, I love my people. Yes. I love you. I love you to life. But understand, I'm not going to lose my life trying to please you. Right. Oh, we understand that, and you should feel the same way. Because if we all have that same mentality, then guess what? In community, together, we will tell each other, no, you got to go back and fix that. And we will accept it. Right. Because it's about us loving, first of all, Yahuwah, and then loving each other. Right. And it is so. It's important that we understand that. Separated ourselves from the unclean, and darkness will also qualify us as part of the mishpah of Yahuwah. That's what qualifies us. What darkness? When you walk in darkness, that means you are, that means the absence of light, the absence of the illumination of Yahuwah's word in our lives. That does not mean a dark room with no lights on. It means the absence of the illumination and the understanding of Yahuwah's word for our lives. And this is what a lot of people walk in because they don't understand. And instead of humbling themselves and saying, Yahuwah, teach me, show me. Because I don't want to be distant from you. I don't want to be away from you. I want to be up close and personal with you. And above all, I want to obey what you told me. Because you know what else was up close and personal with him but lost out? Judas. Judas. I think that's how he said it. He was right there with him every time he moved. But guess what? His motive and his heart was not in the right place. And he ended up losing out. I don't want to be that close and still lose out. Because no matter what he heard, he still was not convinced to change. And he ended up dying a horrible death. And it is so. It is so. The Ibram word, Benai, is children. Its root is Benai, to build. It has the very same root, Benai, as Bayit, or house. Bayit can also mean to have children or to build a family. If we are part of the household of power, then we are also his children. His true dwelling place cannot be separate from his true children. Right. So, as we are his true children, we understand also that, yes, if you understand family at all, sometimes family do have disagreements, but it's how we disagree that determines how we're going to heal and how we're going to be able to move forward as a mishpah. That's right. Problem comes in, a lot of times we don't see each other as family. We just see each other as just either black people, which we are not, or we just see, them Negroes, they just don't know what they're talking about. And you start thinking, well, if they are a Negro, then so are you. Right. The Ibram words am is people. Chavura is community. And kahila, assembly or congregation. Emphasize accountability and togetherness as a community of believers. We are our Ibrams, or we are our Akot or Akkadis, keeper. Let's look at Bereshit 4 and 9. Once again, we're going to look at that again. The Ibram words, am is people. Chavura is community. And kahila, assembly or congregation. Emphasize accountability and togetherness as a community of believers. We are our Ak or Akodi's keeper. Now, once again, we have to understand, emphasize accountability and togetherness as a community of believers. That's another problem. We have not been held accountable for how we treat one another. I'm going to say that again. We get angry when somebody challenges us to be accountable for how we treat one another. Then we get mad at them and we're ready to cuss them out and we're ready to kill them. Instead of stopping for a moment and saying, you know what, you're absolutely right. We could have handled that better. We don't need to do that. But we go trying to blast one another out, and then we start trying to sick Yahuwah and the Ruach Kodesh, his possession, try to sick her on each other and say, this is going to happen to you. Start thinking, when do you wield them? When and how have you gotten that much clout to where I'm going to get them and they're going to do this? Really? So you, the child, trying to tell the parents what to do, or the parent what to do. Something is wrong with that picture. Once again, it is important that we understand our accountability and togetherness as a community of believers. Whether you are here in the state of South Carolina or anywhere else, we are accountable and we are responsible for our unity. That's right. You should never engage in somebody else's defamation of character and tearing down of an Ibram brother or sister. Right. Never. Why you should never do that? Because that's family.
Right.
Yes.
No matter how you disagree with your immediate aunt or a Cody or Ima or Papa, you should never let anybody else come and defame their character or talk bad about them.
That's right.
No.
And we should feel the same way about the household of belief.
Yes.
I don't care who they are. Well, they didn't have it together. They don't know what they talking about. They can't get their words right. And you don't ever get yours right all the time. And even if they don't, never engage in somebody assassinating the character of your Abba, your Ima, your Akodi, or your Ak.
That's right.
Because we are the family of power. And if we are the family of power, then we ought to act like we understand power.
Right.
You want to silence somebody? Sometimes all you have to do is be quiet. All this blasting and defamation of character and talking bad about one another, we need to cut that out.
That's right.
If they're wrong, pray for them.
That's right.
Because regardless, they are still a part of the household of power. Just like you have bad children, and when it's time, what do some parents say? I'll get them. Let me handle them. You do what you do. I'll get them. No, we want to come in and start trying to pull out the switch in the belt. And some kids, you can't do that because some will fight they aunt. They'll fight them. And they're Cody. They'll lay hands on them. Like, you ain't putting your hand on me. Get your hand off me. You ain't mama. You ain't Ema. You ain't papa. Get your hand off me. I have seen and heard some horrible fights with people fighting. Why? Because they feel like nobody's going to tell them what to do. You the same age as I am. How you gonna come and tell me what I can and can't do? It's a problem, and it's a problem we need to fix.
Yes, it is.
How do you fix a problem like that? You live right, and when you can, you interject correction.
Right.
And after you've done that, you go, but you do it in love.
Yes, that's right.
Because you understand we all are part of the same household.
That's right.
We all are part of the same community. Powerful community. The community. All right, are we there? Bereshit 4 and 9.
Bereshit chapter 4, verse 9. From the NIV again. Then Yahuwah said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's keeper?" And it is.
Now, I'm going to read that from scriptures. Am I my ox keeper? Ain't that the way sometimes people act today? It is. Because you have to understand, when you are a keeper of somebody, you know where they are. And that ain't mean you got to be in their back pocket and you got to just be all up in their business, all up in their nose. No, it's about understanding really where they are. Knowing where they are. Look, watch this. Now, some of y'all may say, I don't want to know all that. Emotionally, economically, physically, socially. Why? Because we're in the same household.
That's right.
It is for me to know what's going on and try to lend a helping hand. Because we are a part of the family of power. Once again, the problem comes in is that we've been taught to be so divided and to think it is all about being separate, that when it comes time to help one another, we'll see situations and bypass it because we're afraid that somebody's going to attack us. Somebody's going to try to cuss us out. So we get to this point where we are afraid. You can't be afraid. You have to know how to get in there. And if people lash out, then you have to understand sometimes they're lashing out because you might be the first person that has ever come to them like that. Sometime I heard my great aunt say years ago, when she was alive, she said, sometimes you have to suffer the wrong for the right. Now I know for a lot of people, especially super groups, that ain't gonna wash. But sometimes, a person may kind of come off a little rough, but at the same time, and I'm not talking about people outside of the Ibram belief now. Let me correct that. So we don't think we're supposed to become a flow mat for everybody. No, I'm talking about when you are talking about talking to an Ibram brother or sister. We need to learn how to start saying, look, if you need somebody, I'm here. I don't know you, you don't know me. But if you just need me to listen, I'll listen. You don't want me to say nothing, I don't have to say nothing, because I'm a good listener.
That's right.
But then if the Ruach tell me to say something, then I have to say something.
That's right.
If I have to say something, then I have to open my mouth. And if you don't like it, then that's going to be between you and the Abba. But we've got to learn how to be humble and not be so quick to tell people off
That's right.
and try to tell people where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Are we understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
Once again, we all in the same house, right? In other words, we all have the same belief.
Right.
So we sometimes say, man, this get on my nerve, and I just wish sometimes I had somebody to talk to, and then when somebody does come, we get upset with them because they ain't coming with the right approach.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a correction that brings you into truth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's all said and done, you know, what kind of relationship would come out of it? I'm talking about one where you can really understand the scripture where it says, iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
All right, verse 9, and it says, and Yahuwah said to Quayan, where is Hebel, your Ak? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Now watch what verse 10 says. And he said, what have you done? The voice of your ox blood cries to me from the ground. See, Yahuwah already knew where he was. He just wanted him to admit what he had done
Right.
out of anger. See, because you have to understand, when you get angry, if you don't know how to be disciplined, get angry and sin not, that's when it becomes slander.
Yeah.
And that's when people take it to a whole nother level. And watch this, you can kill people with your mouth.
That's right.
You don't have to always physically kill people, but you can kill people with your mouth. That's what we ought to do, as Dawood said, y'all put a watch over my mouth.
Right.
In other words, watch what comes out of my mouth. Let the deliberation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Yahuwah, my rock and my redeemer. How can it be acceptable when you slander a folk?
Mm.
How can it be acceptable when you are using profanity to get your word across to somebody and you are cutting them up and down?
Mm.
We're supposed to use wisdom,
Right.
and it is so.
Yes.
That's good, it is so. All right. I'm going to stop right there on tonight. If we are willing, we will take back up next Torah empowerment. To continue our teaching. It is important that we understand once again that we have a sense of community. I heard something said one time and I didn't laugh because it wasn't funny to me. You know, sometimes people laugh and they said, boy, them Ibram, they can't get along at all. You put 4 of them in a room, they'd eat up each other's throat. Just give them one thing to talk about. And the next thing you know, they fighting one another. You know that's bad.
That's bad.
That they say we can't get along and we can't get in the, we can't basically talk to each other without acting a nut with each other because somebody's saying something that we don't like. That's the characteristics of immaturity.
That's right.
You're immature. And when a person is immature, they don't know how to use or know how to discipline their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it, I've heard it on large scales and I've heard it on small scales, where we are a people that are so disjointed, disconnected. We have no unity. We can't come together because every time we come together, we bicker and fuss and we can't never do nothing together. We can't never. Y'all, it's time to walk in wisdom.
Yes.
And understand something, for somebody that may question who gave me the authority and the right to say so, Yahuwah did,
Yes, it is.
through Yahushua. He is who called me, and he is who qualifies me, and it is he who justifies me.
Yeah.
I said it, and I'll say it again. It is time that we get together and stop acting like we don't know who our Abba is.
Mm-hmm.
If you know who he is, and you know who your Cody and your Akar. And you know some of us, once again, are in different places in the in our learning, and where we are in our progress in walking in this race, walking in this way of life, I put it. Then you who are more mature, try to help set the standard and set the precedent for healing for our people. Don't take all the knowledge that you have and fight with it, with your own people. And even other people. Scripture says, don't cast good bread to the dogs.
Right.
And don't cast your pearls before the swine, or they'll turn around and rend you. Pearls, bread, it's the Torah. Why try to give people something they don't want?
Yeah.
Because when they turn around, all they do is disregard it, and they don't take it. They don't take it. But give it to somebody that wants it. It's enough of us out here, and enough of our people out here, that are still in dire need of help and instructions. So I say to you on tonight, get a sense of community. I'm not finished. I've just come to my point of stopping. But I want to say to you, if you were with us for the first time, like, subscribe, and if you like it enough, share the video. Once again, I am Prophetess Morah Brown, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom of Great Belief Ministries located in Columbia, South Carolina. I want to say to you tonight, join us every fifth day, which is Yom Shishit. Teaching myself, Yom Kanishi. The days, according to Scripture. Yom Kanishi, day 6, in our, day 5. Yom Kanishi, day 5, in our class, as we're in our empowerment along with the Torah. And then tomorrow, Yahuwah willing, be with us in our Yom Shishi, day 6, and then Yom Shabbat, day 7, our morning class at 11:45, where we come in and we study the Torah, and we are empowered for the next week. Also, on the third day, Yom Shalishi, which is our Higher Heights and Deeper Depths Torah study.